conserve either Excalibur or Volcarona to handle the Amoonguss, because Amoonguss was just way too strong.
Yeah, the Amoonguss just put in so much work, whether it was, yeah, just kind of helping to heal it up or just drawing away the focus fire so that Volcarona and Golden Go could kind of do their thing. It definitely felt like Ryan's Pokemon started to run away with the game when that Amoonguss got involved. But Ethan wasn't too far off. I mean, that Excalibur put in a ton of work. And Loaded Dice was not an item that I thought Excalibur would really be making use of either.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. When I saw Loaded Dice introduced as an item, I was like, oh, this feels like a really niche item. But I think with Excalibur, like, it makes a ton of sense. So the Icicle Spear is just already a decent attack, and with Excalibur, like, being able to break through like Focus Sashes, for example, is really valuable. And with Loaded Dice, you can just run Icicle Spear with so much more confidence, right? Otherwise, like, the thing with Icicle Spear without Loaded Dice is the difference between like 2 hits and 5 hits is just night and day. So guaranteeing like 4 to 5 hits, I think, is really nice. And so, yeah, I think there aren't that many Pokemon that use Loaded Dice in the format, but Excalibur, like, I think is one of the best users of it. And so I think going into this next game, like, Ethan has to be very worried about the amount of setup that Ryan has. He has both Nasty Plot on the Golden Goal as well as the Quiver Dance, and man, Volcarona plus Amoonguss looked so strong in that matchup.
I know you're worried about the Golden Go on the other side, but I wonder if there's a world where you bring Sylveon for the helping hand. Like, does that get you over the edge of some of these calcs to be able to knock out some of Ryan's Pokemon before they're able to get that setup?
Yeah, this is really interesting. Actually, I'm taking a look at the team compositions, and Ethan's Sylveon is, well, first of all, Water Terra. That in itself can be valuable in resisting the Fire-type attacks from Volcarona, although it does make you weak to Giga Drain, of course, but it has Choice Specs and Terra Blast, so that actually can be potentially an answer into the Volcarona. The main thing, though, is that this Amoonguss Volcarona combination, like, you'll have to KO Amoonguss first before you can actually handle the Volcarona.
True.
And so, yeah, like, Tauros really did not do very much in that previous game. However, if you actually conserve that Grass Terra, then you can actually ignore the Rage Powders from Amoonguss. And so I think Ethan basically got no value out of the Electric Terra from Excalibur. It kind of felt like a necessary play, because otherwise, like, the Make It Rain was just too powerful. But it's a classic example of, like, going for a defensive Terra because you feel forced to, getting no value out of it, and then taking away optionality from Terras later on in the game. And so I think one adjustment Ethan can consider is conserving his Terra for the Grass Tauros in the back. I think you can also definitely consider bringing the Sylveon. Kilowattrel is interesting. This set is Electro Ball, Endeavor, Tailwind, and Protect, and so I think that's especially powerful into like Dondozo teams. The Endeavor, I think, is a really cool combo. I question how valuable it can really fully be in this matchup, though.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. We're probably not going to see it, but maybe we get to see a bit more Sylveon, and for that, I am grateful. But we'll have to see how the Excalibur gets played too. I mean, Electric type is just so interesting. I don't know. I understand why it's there because the Excalibur also has Terra Blast, so I guess you can fire off some super effective Electric type attack. Ethan is definitely prepared for the Dondozo matchup. Is all that I'm getting from this.
You got Kilowattrel, you got Excalibur, but oh, we spoke too soon.
There's a Kilowattrel on the screen. Wow, we get the
Sableye.
Oh my god.
What is going on?
I mean, I'm happy about this. Okay, so the Sableye, you're able to see that it has the Reflect in the light screen, but it's also carrying a Light Clay. And so this is a great way for Ryan to start trying to mitigate some of this damage that's going to be coming through. So I would like to see some screens set up here, but then, you know,
this Sableye moveset, like, this Sableye, like, Awkward Reflect Light Screen to Sableye, or Disable, not to Sableye, none of those are moves I would actually expect on Sableye. You normally expect, like, Fake Out, Will-O-Wisp, Squash, Foul Play, so that in itself, I think, is actually really cool, and I can really see how Ryan's team is built, right? It's like you use Sableye for screens instead of Grimmsnarl, but it gets access to Encore and Disable, which is really cool. And so, yeah, it's like doing Grimmsnarl things, but has some other, unique moves. And then you have Amoonguss to kind of heal back your Pokemon. And so Tailwind goes up, so Wind Power is now activated. There is the Electro Ball as well, so you have a very powerful Electro Ball potentially going into the next turn. That being said, of course, Light Screen is up. And now that the Frigoref has left the field, Sableye could go for its Prankster attacks. But the question is, does Ethan consider switching back out into the Frigoref to then cover for that?
Well, what about the Tauros as well? That is something that can take advantage of the Tailwind that was just set too. We're going to see the Kilowattrel just go for a Protect here, but Sableye, trying to go for the Encore, will not be able to do that through the Protect. And so what is this Tauros up to? It's going to go for a Raging Bull, and that's going to just go ahead and break the light screen too. So pretty big moves coming out here from Ethan.
I feel like there's so much going on. Like Raging Bull, of course, can actually break through screens, so we just saw that interaction. It's like, I don't think I would have ever expected the screens to be broken from a Sableye, but it's really nice because Grimmsnarl is used in this format, right? And so the thing here is that Ryan can just set up again, as he's like, kind of opting for right now. But yeah, I think nice switching by Ethan, also a great protect on Kilowattrel, just to ensure like you don't get hit by that Encore immediately while also breaking the screens. And so Tauros already putting in a lot more work in this game relative to the previous one, but it is going to be a switch this time. I wonder if it's into Fergraph to then cover for the Encore option as it is.
Yep, it's going to be a Fergraph switch, and then Golden Go just going for Protect too, so just keeping things relatively safe. We're going to see some similar setup options here, and really for Ryan, it's about getting into a position where it really feels like he can start to go for some big moves. I mean, just having the Nasty Plot boost is pretty big, but then, you know, do you give it up, or do you go for something else that might be in the back to try to help out your strategy? Maybe just gonna go all out on offense here.
Yeah, and I think going all out on the offense makes sense, especially if you're confident in surviving like an Electro Ball. Plus, there is Shadow Ball in the Fergraph's end, right? So given Tailwind, like you want to get rid of the Ghost typing and try to survive. You set up Light Screen as well, so the idea is, okay, I just need a little bit of HP on Golden Go. I get this huge Make It Rain off, and then Amoonguss is able to pivot in and also put in a lot of work. One of the questions we had after that last game was, what's the answer to Amoonguss? And to be honest, Kilowattrel, Fergraph, and the Tauros, like none of those are really super reliable answers other than the potential Endeavor. But here's Electro Ball into Golden Go. Okay.
Doing a good amount. It does get Golden Go in the range of being able to consume its berries, so Citrus Berry going to go ahead and heal up quite a bit. But Fergraph using Shadow Ball into the Golden Go as well. It's still not enough to get the knockout.
Yeah, the Citrus Berry really paying dividends there. It's so much damage onto both Pokemon there immediately. And so, I mean, Kilowattrel now can at least go for Endeavor onto the Amoonguss, but the problem is the Hyper Voice does not hit the Golden Go, so you can just go for Rage Powder and Make Your Rain is one of the possible options here. I think a lot of different options to consider, but basically, Amoonguss felt like one of the main problems in that last game, and it's just come out once again in a position where there's not like threat of too much damage other than a potential Endeavor, but if you go for Endeavor, then the Kilowattrel just faints, and yeah, like, if you know, Fergraph would have to Hyper Voice to finish things off, and then Make Rain would just pick up a double knockout, and that would be kind of a disaster. So the question is, how much are you willing to give up right now if you're Ethan? But the answer might be a lot, honestly, because neither Pokemon are switching.
Nope, it's going to be a Rage Powder here to kick things off as the Endeavor goes into the Amoonguss. Rocky Helmet doing a little bit of chip as well as the Make It Rain comes through. It's just a double knockout here into the Kilowattrel and the Farigiraf. So this does pave the way for Ethan to be able to bring in his final two Pokemon, but at what cost do you really go with that? Because Amoonguss might be really low, but keep in mind that it still has the ability to switch back out, get some healing back with its Regenerator ability, and it's going to be Baxcalibur and Tauros as Ethan's final two in the second game.
I just think the Sableye and Ryan's team is so cool. I've never seen Sableye utilized this way, and yeah, having access to moves like Encore and Disable, I think is super, super valuable. And so it's been a super interesting match so far, but I think just really great control from Ryan to, once again, just find really good positioning for these powerful attackers. And I mean, this is why Golden Go is really one of the best Pokemon that you can really have. And so with the Volcarona in the back, I think you still have to be very careful, right? Because you are going up against the Aqua Tauros with Raging Bull. And so, you know, Volcarona, of course, can take a lot of damage from that. But maybe you consider like a defensive Terra with Volcarona. What's really funny here is about the Terra interactions. Volcarona is Water Terra, and the Baxcalibur is Electric Terra. But as you called out earlier, there's Terra Blast on the Baxcalibur, so Volcarona Terra's defensively, then the Electric kind of covers for it, and that's actually the synergy exactly behind the Tauros and the Baxcalibur.
Yep, for sure. I mean, it's really cool to see how those Pokemon are really playing out on this team, but, you know, we haven't seen Terra for Ethan's side yet. It will be that Baxcalibur terrestrializing once again, so we see that electric typing come through for that Pokemon. But what happens next? I mean, do we just keep seeing like Icicle Spears or something? There's the Raging Bull into the Sableye, will remove the Light Screen from play, but Icicle Spear just to finish off the Amoonguss, I respect it.
Yep. Okay, well this time around Amoonguss has been taken care of. The question is it too little too late? Right now, I mean, both Excalibur and the Tauros are decently positioned, and Raging Bull is honestly really, really nice as an answer into Sableye, right? So at least you have that upside. But yeah, we still haven't seen a Terra. There is that Water Terra, looks like, that Ryan is considering. And yeah, like, what's really interesting is the potential of Encore here, right? Because you can just Encore the Excalibur into Icicle Spear. And so Ethan here, you may want to consider going for a Protect with that slot, and then Tauros can go for a Raging Bull to at least knock out the Sableye. If you knock out the Sableye, then you have that, you know, super effective Terra Blast potentially into Volcarona the subsequent turn. And so, yeah, I think this game is definitely not over. Ethan can certainly pull it back, and it's because of kind of this unique Terra interaction with Volcarona being Water Terra and then Terra Blast existing on the opposing side.
Yeah, so we could definitely see a Protect come through just to keep that Excalibur safe. I mean, even just kind of looking across the board, though, too, yeah, Ryan's going to go ahead and go through with this Terra here.
Yeah, and I think the idea of the Terra makes sense. If you don't Terra, then you're really worried about Raging Bull from the opposing side with Volcarona just KOing you, or sorry, with Tauros on the opposing side just KOing you. So Water Terra Volcarona has now hit the field. It is just going to be Protect here from Excalibur. So yep, not trying to get Encored here, and now it is exactly going to go into that slot.
Yep. So protecting to keep Excalibur nice and safe as Ethan's going to go for a Raging Bull with the Tauros. Grabs a huge knockout onto the Sableye. And yeah, all of a sudden, this is a completely different game here for Ethan with the Tauros and the Excalibur still alive and able to put on a ton of offensive pressure, despite the fact that Volcarona is going to be able to get a Quiver Dance off.
I think what's really interesting is, like, by giving up the Terra that way, you now, like, if you're Ethan, can actually Terra Blast very safely with more confidence into that slot. Whereas if Volcarona didn't Terra last turn, the whole idea of Terraing there, by the way, is just to make sure that you're able to like survive Tauros in case Tauros targets Volcarona instead of Sableye. But Ethan definitely getting the better end of that trade, and so now Ethan can potentially angle towards, yeah, just going for that super effective Terra Blast. And there's Aqua Jet, but Golden Gun hangs on with 8!
Oh my gosh, the Giga Drain is going to be able to finish off the Tauros on Ethan's side, but is that survival going to be super critical here? I mean, there comes a Terra Blast here from the Excalibur, so that electric type Terra Blast actually going to go into the Golden Go here. Wow, so double targeting that slot just to make sure that it will be able to maybe get through the Volcarona by itself.
Oh, 1v1 now, and the Water Terra has worked out very much against Ryan, right? Like, now you can't get rid of your Terra typing, and so, yeah, like, the question I have here is how much does Excalibur do with that super effective Terra Blast? And opting for the Giga Drain option here first over Heat Wave. I maybe would have preferred to see Heat Wave there. You get the chance of getting a burn as well. And so here's Terra Blast. Let's see how much it does. I'd expect a knockout, honestly, but oh, it survives!
Yeah, not quite. Not quite a knockout there. But, I mean, Leftovers healing, Volcarona gets a little bit of that back, but cycling through Protect and getting that Leftovers chip is probably not going to be enough for you.
Heat Wave connects, single target, +1, it does not get the knockout!
Thermal Exchange 2. Gonna go ahead and give over a nice little attack boost over to that Excalibur, so it gets to fight back with another Terra Blast, securing the knockout and bringing us to a game number 3.
Yeah, and at first I was like, I wonder why he went for the Giga Drain first over Heat Wave, but of course there is the Thermal Exchange. I honestly thought that Excalibur would just get the knockout onto Volcarona anyway with the Terra Blast, and so I was thinking, you know, you might as well just go at least for a burn, and yeah, you'll do a little bit more damage, but I think the sequencing on Ryan's end actually makes a lot of sense, especially if you know the bulk on your Volcarona, expecting to survive that Terra Blast. That's such like a unique damage count, so cool. Like I would never really think about doing, right? But that's actually a really big deal, but incredibly well done by Ethan to actually pull back into that game. Like, I felt like Ryan had a nice lead, positioned this Golden Go super well, but Ethan found some really, really smart pivoting to be able to break through, you know, Ryan's setup, and a lot of that came down to the Terra interaction. And so, yeah, I never thought I'd see an Electric Terra Excalibur using Terra Blast and a Water Terra Volcarona here at round 6 at Regionals, but that was really, really cool.
That was so cool to see. And we're going to get the chance to see even more of that. I mean, we saw Pokemon choices that we might not have expected to see in this matchup. Just seeing the Sableye and the Kilowattrel hit the field, but we saw the third game. We're in game number 3.
I think, yeah, one thing that was really interesting there is like, first of all, Kilowattrel, right? We were talking a little bit before the second game. I honestly wasn't really expecting to see it, and the Endeavor was a huge deal. Like, I think the thing with Endeavor is you know that the opposing side has it, and also there is Golden Goal and Sableye on Ryan's side, so it's not like you can always execute it, but it was perfectly positioned where you had the Endeavor right in front of the Amoonguss, and Amoonguss on this team does not have Protect on Ryan's team, and so the way Ethan like positioned that I thought was really nicely done. Also getting Tauros in on turn 2 of that previous game to get the Raging Bull and just break through the screens I think was really smart as well. And so yeah, I really like the adjustments that Ethan went for there, and I think for Ryan you've got to think a little bit more about, you know, when to go for example, the Water Terra, because like I think that's an example of why Terra can be a really challenging mechanic. Ryan actually ended up getting nothing out of it. In fact, Ethan played around the Water Terra absolutely perfectly, and it only worked against Ryan in that end game.
Now, we've seen that a few times from trainers. Like, it really is tough to get that timing right. And honestly, in some cases, maybe you don't terastalize. Like, how maybe you get through an entire game and you just don't click the terastalize button because it just might not be as beneficial to you as you're hoping that it would be. But it is time for game number 3 of this best of 3 set between Ethan and Ryan here at the San Diego Regional Championships. And a repeat appearance here coming out from the Dragonite and the Volcarona here for Ryan, and then Ethan with the Tauros and the Volcarona to kick things off.
Okay, some adjustments here. I think I was really intrigued by the idea of Outrage in that first game, but Ethan has not brought Sylveon out in either of the matches so far, so I'm wondering if there's any consideration there. It looks like Ryan might want to go for that Dragon Claw this time instead, just kind of consistent damage. And one of the very nice things about Dragonite is, of course, it has that inner focus ability, so it's able to ignore those Intimidates from the opposing Tauros. But yeah, I like the mix-up here. I think like the thing for Ryan is that the Sableye set up screens in the last game, but didn't do much more, and that's classic Sableye syndrome, I feel like, where it's on the field and it does some things, but it doesn't really help like propel you to a victory. So
it does stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Just does stuff. Cool.
It's like kind of giving like a half health, you know, like a high five, but you know.
Yeah. No, I totally get what you mean. That's for sure. But it's time to see some attacks as the Raging Bull does come through. Well, Corona going for the Quiver Dance. I mean, the Water Terror in that sense is very smart. If you're expecting the Raging Bull to come through, then you're mitigating the amount of damage that is incoming. But Dragonite's still going to be able to use this Dragon Claw. But Ethan's Volcarona is going to hang on.
Yeah, I think this is a very strong turn 1 from Ryan. The Water Terror already paying dividends. I feel like the last game it was like Ryan had gone for the Water Terror, just hoping Tauros would target it at some point and cover for it. Never happened, but this time alone, it's already such a big difference, right? You got a free boost up. You are putting on a lot of offensive pressure with both Dragonite and the Volcarona. This play is interesting. It's actually a little bit more passive, like protecting the Volcarona and just bringing Amoonguss out. I think it makes sense because like the only thing you really lose to is if Ethan goes for a wild prediction, actually clicks Overheat onto that slot. Otherwise, like you're probably in pretty good shape. But yeah, I think there was definitely the potential just to attack with both Pokemon, but I'm sure Ryan's relieved here. No Overheat comes out, and so now Amoonguss is so nicely positioned with Volcarona as the Trailblaze comes out.
Okay, so that is something that I've been curious about, you know, how many Pokemon are really going to be utilizing this move.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Not only does it do damage, but you also get the speed boost too, which is also really fun to be able to play around with. But not paying off this time around as Ryan's Volcarona did go for the Protect, but now you know, like, even though you can see it on the open team sheet, but you're like, okay, Ethan's actually going to use it.
Yeah, this game is so interesting because I think like the dilemma from the previous matches was how do you handle Amoonguss, and Ethan found the very clever solution with the Endeavor Kilowattrel in game 2. But right now it feels like Amoonguss and the Volcarona are just so well positioned. This is actually also interesting because we've seen Safety Goggles and some of the other Water Tauroses throughout this tournament, and I think this interaction shows why. It's like Amoonguss is just really strong, honestly, into the Water Tauros. But here's a Terra coming out, and oh, I think it's going to be the Grass Terra.
I think you're exactly right about that one. I mean, at this point, this is a great way for Ethan to get back into the game. That grass typing for Tauros will allow it to ignore the Rage Powders coming through from Amoonguss, and that's exactly what we're going to see. So Tauros doesn't have to worry about that anymore. There's no Protect coming out here too, but it might come back to bite him because that Heat Wave is a double connect and a double
What's going on, guys? It's Frito here for your Overwatch. We're expecting Season 3 to begin around February 7th, and a balance patch that's supposed to come before January ends, including significant nerfs to Roadhog. We already know you'll get more agency when it comes to selecting the reward you want from the cosmetics. And adding to all the things that are coming in Season 3, Jared Ness, who's the executive producer for Overwatch 2, has been tweeting out that even more huge changes are coming. Now, unfortunately, it came with the acknowledgement that some of my own favorite features and format changes will not be coming. When asked about tournament mode, map selection options, and hero draft, Jared Ness responds in saying there are enough foundational issues to address that I think features like this, if we were to do them, would come much later down the road. Gotta walk before you can run, so to speak. The biggest complaints from the community in competitive right now are related to rank updates being confusing, unintuitive, team imbalance, where you get rolled or you roll the enemy team, general matchmaking issues, etc. He says they need to get those things sorted to set the foundation for new features. Today's video sponsor is Unlisted, a new type of FPS game that uniquely couples PvP with PvE combat. Command a squad of AI soldiers and fight in massive battles with hundreds of targets led by other players. Unlisted offers multiple campaigns to play through, featuring their own unique weapons and vehicles and equipment. From the outskirts of Moscow, 1941, to the heart of Berlin, 1945. You can play now on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, current gen or last gen. Enlisted is a game approachable for all kinds of players. For casuals, because of the scale of the combat, there's something for every skill level to do, but the game's also hardcore where it matters, with a small time to kill for infantry, realistic damage on the vehicles. The battles are intense, immersive, and fun. I'm a big fan of the scale of the combat, how immersed you can get into the entire battlefield. Great details on the weapon models, and when you combine that with the smoke and fire, the gameplay will suck you right in. Register to play using our link in the description and you'll get a free bonus pack. They need you on the front line, soldier. Take our link in the description and try out Enlisted today. So we should expect improvements to the rank system come Season 3 in respect to these areas, specifically the confusing ranked updates and general matchmaking issues where the teams are quite imbalanced. Because at the very least, the visuals of your rank indication and how long it takes to get updates to properly know where you're even playing at. Like, think of how many ways you don't have information you used to have. Start of the season in Overwatch 1, even if the player ranks were invisible, you at least knew the average team's SR. So if you were placing in that game, you understood what level generally that game was. They took that away. Then on top of it, you're multiple stages away from really gripping where your ranking is for yourself as well as where your teams. Like, all of this is so shockingly bad with the lack of information that they give, is it adds to frustration of not really knowing whether the matchmaker is working or not. We will have a blog post detailing the changes to ranked for Season 3.
I want to make a quick little video. It's been a couple days since I made a video. A subscriber was basically asked to build this little application as an interview homework assignment. Okay, so he was given 24 hours to build this little application, which I'll show you in a second. If I could clear my cookies 1 second. Go here and let's delete my session stuff and refresh the page. So basically, they were asked to build an application where you can go and upload a file to S3, and then you can view all the files that you uploaded, and you can also download those files using your web app, right? And he was given 24 hours to implement all this, and he asked me like if I wanted to help him out, and so I started building it just to see how hard it was, and it took me like 2 hours maybe to fully do this. The hardest part was setting up Passport to do the authentication because I haven't really done it in a long time. It's kind of confusing, honestly. But this is the app. You can log in. It takes you to Google. You can go ahead and log in with like your email account. And then you have the ability to upload a new file, or you can download an existing file. So let me just go ahead and click Choose File. And let's see if I happen to have any files anywhere. You know, let's just take a screenshot, and I'll upload that screenshot when it gets saved to my desktop. Probably be the easiest way to do this. So go to my desktop, click that screenshot, click upload, and it fails. Post to files, empty response. Don't know why that failed. Let's just go over to the server and see what's going on. Oh, I forgot to start my local S3 server, npm run S3. All right, let's try it again. I'm gonna go ahead and click upload. Why is this crap not working? Everything is broken. I gotta restart my app. Okay. Moment of truth, let's try it again. Yeah, so I'm an idiot. I did some refactoring and I didn't really test it before this video, so I apologize. I'll probably just cut this crap out. Let's see, upload model. I'm using Mongoose for like uploading this stuff. I don't know how I screwed up the refactoring so bad. Here we go. So you can upload a